Hello, I'm Samuel Dassler, here to talk about Frogger Hyper Arcade Edition, which I worked on at Zombie Studios. The game released in June 2012 for PlayStation Network, Xbox Live Arcade, WiiWare, and iOS. I function as an associate producer, assistant game designer, usability tester, and after all that I only got credit as a production assistant. Just want to say I never had to get coffee for anybody. My main job was maintaining all our internal documentation. I participated in a lot of meetings with Konami's producers to discuss gameplay ideas and solutions. I took notes from those meetings and organized them for the rest of the development team. I even created some of the game modes that shipped in the final product, namely Paint Mode and Twin Frog Mode. Paint Mode came about because in the early stages of the game, the tiling coloring mechanic was always active. Playing Frogger all day for weeks on end got pretty mind-numbing at times, so I amused myself by drawing pictures and words. That was pretty engaging, so I pitched it to my boss and Paint Mode was born. I created most of the paint patterns as well. Twin Frog Mode was the result of a bug, actually. When we started on the Wii build, 2 frogs were on screen, but the multiplayer controls weren't hooked up, so both frogs were controlled by one player. I had some fun trying to wrangle both frogs to the goals and realized we could get another game mode out of that without a lot of extra work, which was a good thing because we needed more game modes after cutting content that wasn't coming together. Speaking of content, my favorite, most visible contribution to the game was a series of short Frogger and Love movies that are unlocked by completing challenges. Narrative and story are my favorite parts of game design, so my boss suggested that I make a couple of small vignettes like in the old Ms. Pac-Man arcade game. There's now 15 of these in the final product which form a continuous narrative. I wrote all of them and animated them using Adobe Flash. It was a great experiment for me to create an amusing, emotional narrative without words and using only sprites from the arcade game. Unfortunately, the films are only featured in the PlayStation and Xbox versions due to size constraints of the WiiWare service. Working at Zombie Studios was my first foray into the professional game industry. I learned a lot about not only how games are made on the technical, but also the business side. It was an invaluable time for me, and I'm excited to see what new projects await me in the future. Well, that was a little taste of what I did working at Zombie on Frogger Hyper Arcade Edition. I'm Samuel Dassler, and thanks for listening.